Random dad stuff. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. Today's video, I noticed something wrong with my snare drum. There were some loose screws that were inside. So I decided to take the head off and fix those screws, but instead end up taking the whole thing apart. Enjoy. I got the bottom head off here now, and you can see where it's missing a screw or two. So I said, well, as long as I'm doing this, I'm going to take all the lugs off, clean everything up, and try to make it like new again. So I've got the bare shell here now. Got the bottom head, got the old top head, got all the hardware, got all these lugs. But I noticed about half the lugs have broken threads on them or are stripped out. So I'm going to have to get some new ones, but I'm going to sand this shell first. So I did some light sanding. Had to be really careful not to sand that top edge because that's where the drum head sits. And if you mess that up, it's big trouble. So after sanding, I did a couple coats of this clear coat acrylic. Just did it on very lightly. Did 2 or 3 coats of that. And this is what it looks like. You can see where the old lugs were because that part's clean. They didn't have these same lugs available because they are discontinued and they're hard to find. And when I did find them, they were about $25 or $30 each. So I ordered some alternate lugs and I'm gonna see what they look like and how they're gonna look on the drum. Ooh, all right. They are a similar shape and style. You can see here's the old one, here's the new one. Has the same hole pattern, so that's what I needed, is that 3.5 inch hole pattern. Let's see how it's gonna look on the drum. It's gonna look good. So this is what the old one looked like, and then this is the new one. I think that's gonna look nice, and it's got the space there. That's gonna be real nice. Well, let's get these put on. I was really excited about putting on these new lugs, and when I ordered them, there was an option to buy all new lug screws also, and I thought, I don't need those. I have a whole bunch of those. I'll just use from the same ones I took off. Well, I quickly realized, well, I have to pause today's video because turns out some of these screws from the old lugs are stripped out a little bit at the ends. So I don't want to force them into the new lugs because then that'll just cause problems in the future. So I've got to go to Lowe's and find these exact screws. So here we go. Also, turns out I have 3 different sizes of tension rods. So I got on Amazon and I ordered a set of these mid-size ones, which are actually the correct size for a 6.5 inch shell. So those should be coming tomorrow. Meantime, I'm headed to Lowe's. So I took one of my lug screws to Lowe's, and they have this cool thing where you can thread your screw in there and find out exactly what size it is. So I did that and was able to find the exact screw size and thread. 4mm 0.7. All right, back from Lowe's. Got the screws and washers and lock washers. And let's get the rest of this thing put together. But I still have to wait on my Amazon order of my tension rods. But I'll get the rest of these lugs on. Here we go. Now this process went a lot better than before because I knew I had all good screws, fender washers, lock washers, and everything was going to fit just as I had planned. And it turned out. It worked, to my surprise. And it looks pretty good, I think. Alright, now that I've got all the lugs on, I've got a few more hardware pieces to attach. So I'm going to get those put on. I had to put on the snare throw-off lever, the other snare attachments to go on the bottom, and these other attachments, which are actually for if you're using the snare wires that have the string attachments, but I put them on anyway. I've got most of the hardware back on here. Just need to go through and hand tighten these up. You don't want to use a drill for these because they can strip out really easy. So I'm just going to use a screwdriver. Make sure they're tightened up. Screw, screw, tighten, tighten, screw, tighten, tighten. Yep, that's it. I've got everything tightened up. Ready to put the heads on, but I have to wait for Amazon to deliver my new tension rods, which it's supposed to be tomorrow, so I'll have to wait a while. But for you, it'll be just a second. Click Amazon, ship. Here it is already. That was quick. And I've got them here, all the same size, right tension rods, and I got this cool little drill bit that fits the drum key size. Since I had this all apart and I had to take the drum heads off anyway, I decided I would get a new drum head. I'm using the Evans Level 360 Genera Dry Coated head. I'm going to put that on. Now, if you want to make it right, you line the logo up so it's facing up on the drum. Looks way better, I think. Now, you got to be very careful when you're using a drill to put on these lugs because it's really easy to over tighten them. So I just have this set on a pretty low setting, and you don't want to tighten them all the way. The drill's just to speed things up in getting them hand tight, and then we can go around and tune it later. Wow. All right, I've got one side complete. I'm gonna flip it over and do the bottom head now. The last step here is to put on the snares. Attach, thread through, tighten. Attach, thread through, tighten the other side. Make sure it works. Make sure it works good. Tighten it up. Make sure it's tight. Did I say tight? Okay, I've got it all put back together. New lugs on. New tension rods. New heads. So the only thing left to do now is tune it up and see how it sounds. Make sure everything is tensioned up a little bit first. And then you're going to start working opposite sides. So I'm going to do here, because when I tension this, it's also going to pull the head straight across. All right, sounding pretty good for now. Let's work on the back side here. Now, a common problem with doing the snare side is that you've got these snares rattling. There's an easy solution for that. You just get a stick, put it under the snare wires, and then you don't have the rattling. Getting there. All right, well, the last step is to put this on with the rest of my drums and see how it sounds with the whole kit. Well, I consider that a success. Thanks for watching this video of rebuilding this old snare drum, and hopefully you learned something. I learned a lot while doing it, and should always be prepared with the right parts. But thanks to Amazon for saving the day. Catch you next time. Bye.